Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hello. We just-
Hello, it is so good to see you and your beautiful, handsome face.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And it's always lovely to see you and your gorgeous face. It has been a while, and you have been up to some really cracker crazy things, Meredith Grundei.
Yes, as so have you. I have been traveling for work. I continue to build a business, which is fantastic. Uh, Lots of really fun little opportunities that are just around the corner. I just booked a new client before I hopped on this call with you. Things are good. I love it. And I love that it's springtime in New York City with the daffodils and the tulips and the spring
Mm,
air. It makes my heart sing.
wow. Guess what?
Tell me more.
We do not have a guest today on purpose.
It's just the two of us.
It's not like we screwed up the scheduling or anything.
No, we didn't. We just decided that there was no one better than the two of us.
And that, you know what? The one comment that we have gotten over and over again for 3 years is that people like us together and our banter.
Well, then they get
So
it. They get it
they get it for free,
for free every once
unless
in a
they
while.
want to pay us.
That's I mean, if you want to pay us, I can do a shameless plug.
Yes, please go
There's
ahead.
plenty of ways that you can give us money. One is on our Patreon site, but that's boring.
Ah, or you
You
could
can
be a
Venmo me
sponsor.
directly.
You could be a sponsor, which is not boring at all. Being
You
a
could be a
sponsor is huge.
sponsor,
Yeah.
which would be great. And then if you're a sponsor, you might get us to like, depending on how much you want to sponsor us for, you might get us to actually do this show once a week.
Oh, yes. And you might actually get us to read your copy. For those not in the know, totally fine. Copy is just the text that goes behind the scenes about what you want us to say.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and you might get other fun perks that we don't even
Yeah.
know that we're
We
giving
could
you
come
yet.
visit you. We could show up on your front porch and you what? We could do a Are You Waiting for Permission live performance at your house for your mother's birthday party.
I think that would be, we could do that. We could teach an improv workshop. We could bring balloons.
We
We
could.
could
Can
have
you
you
show me
guys
the
sing.
balloons?
We're
You
gonna
have
pick out
balloons,
your
right?
husband. What?
Don't you have balloons, that animation thing that I just saw a few minutes ago before we
I
started?
do, and if you also are, other people too, and I can make other things happen. I don't know. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. It's just, see, now
Oh,
I've got
oh.
confetti. I know. I
Wow.
know.
You
We are geeking out here in the
are like
virtual world these days.
one-stop shop.
It's like, I have to say, I'm gonna just I'm this is a little bit of a digression. I have noticed, I've been in meetings recently where people, I know you're bored being on Zoom. I get it. It's exhausting. These virtual communities can be exhausting. But I implore you to smile. You have to smile. Show me some signs of life. I can't tell you how many I'll pop into meetings and everybody looks so dang serious that it is devastating, and it
Hmm.
is killing my spirit slowly. So I'm just inviting you, if you're listening right now and you're one of those people that pops into a Zoom room and you look miserable, either like turn off your camera and do some jumping jacks, but turn that frown upside down.
You sound like you're talking to your daughter's what, 5th grade class? Is she in 5th
Sometimes
grade?
sometimes we have to get real and we got to get simple.
Get real, get simple.
Yeah.
What were you teaching when you were on the other side of the world that took you 27 and a half hours to get home?
Oh, I got to go to Kuala Lumpur. So that was the first time that I've traveled east, which was
Mm.
pretty cool. But it's a long flight and it was great because I was able to fly out in business class, which makes me feel like an important person.
What
But
were you teaching?
I was coaching a group of pediatricians. I was helping them with their speaking because they were expected to go back to their home countries and speak to their colleagues about a vaccine.
Mm.
So I help them communicate science simply.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Really? I mean, because if doctors explain something to us or to parents, that we don't understand, then it's all lost, right? And then we're just victims of the medical
Community.
community. So
Well, and I feel too that when they learn how to speak simply, the science, if they can convey that to their colleagues, and their colleagues will hopefully take nuggets of that and then be able to communicate to their patients simply and communicate with them in a way
exactly.
to where,
Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like there's such a gap there, sadly. And I don't know about you, Joseph, but I definitely want to know what I'm putting into my body.
Mm, absolutely. Before we jumped on this call, listener and viewer, we were talking about just like melatonin and sleep aids and things like that. And Meredith and I, neither one of us like to take that kind of stuff,
Mm-mm.
even though it's so there you are.
There you have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just and I know that there's a lot of people who struggle with sleep, and I feel lucky. I don't. Knock on wood. I knocked on wood, you could hear it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So guess what? Twice.
What?
There is a possibility, listener and viewer,
Uh-huh.
that Meredith Grundei and myself and a third guest, Lisa Correo, might be doing an evening of stand-up comedy together, the three of us.
We're gonna do it for your birthday to celebrate you,
Oh,
because
wouldn't that be
Joseph Bennett's birthday is August 6th. So if you listen to this podcast, mark your calendars right now and send him a happy birthday wish on his birthday,
or just come to the show.
or just come to the show. Fly to
It's a
San Miguel.
live show.
I know. And well, San Miguel de Allende is one of my favorite places to visit.
Mm,
And I will be there on New Year's Eve with you
yes,
for
for
my birthday.
your birthday.
We get to, and we're going to do, we'll do some sort of performance.
Yes. It would be a sleep performance, New Year's Eve. Hey, what you don't know, I may have not told you this, is that there's a certain ticket price for the stand-up comedy show.
Tell me
But
about it.
then there's a VIP price, which means afterwards you get to come back to this house, which is pretty nice, have dinner, wine, birthday cake, and celebrate with the talent.
I think that sounds amazing.
Isn't it
I
sweet?
mean, who wouldn't want to do that?
Who wouldn't want? So we might have 100 people
We
here.
might. We might have 100 people coming to your house. Are you
It's
ready
a
for
big
that?
house. Then the other thing I thought is after the show, what if we come back on stage and do like an episode of Are You Waiting for Permission live?
Oh, why not?
Why not? We could
I mean,
even
that
have
would be
Lisa be
great.
part of it.
There's this really fun event that I like to go to every once where I met Seth Godin in person. He was in front of me getting
Yes.
coffee, and I tapped on his shoulder. I'm like, "Hi." I don't think I tapped on his shoulder. I think he turned around and I said, "Hi, Seth. It's really nice to meet you." I wasn't weird about it. Okay. I just wanted to clarify. But Creative Mornings, what I love about it is that they will sometimes do a live podcast. And
Mm,
it's really fun to have an audience there witnessing you as you're as you're having this really fun, unique interview.
which might be happening today on LinkedIn and Facebook and all of that. That could be
Well,
happening
today
now.
we're not on LinkedIn.
Okay.
We're on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know. I love LinkedIn. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're somebody that is, a creator of LinkedIn and you happen to be listening to our podcast right now, uh, I have a few things that I want to say for feedback. But today I just decided I couldn't do it.
Got it. Got it.
I mean, we can broadcast this later. Let's just
Mhm.
repurpose. Isn't that what we do as creators? We repurpose our
I
material.
believe it. Hey, can I tell you a story?
Yes.
It's related to Are You Waiting for Permission?
Okay.
So earlier this week, I was on vacation and I was kind of planning the next couple of quarters of my life and with my husband, Eli Hans, who I do a lot of work with. And I kind of had that doubt, that seed of doubt that sometimes happen, Meredith. And I'm like, oh, maybe I've done too much. Maybe people are tired of hearing about me. I tried to do this thing before and it didn't work. And then I had a flash of a woman who used to live in San Miguel de Allende, and she died very suddenly a few years ago.
Hmm.
Her name was Karen. And it happened to be her birthday that day that I was having this little meltdown by myself about, do I do this? Do I not do this?
Hmm.
So the thought that came to me, and I believe that this will help our listeners and our viewers, was we are going to be dead for a very long time. So if there's something that we want to do, if there's a book that we want to write, if there's a program that we want to put out there, if there's a podcast, if there's an event, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because unlike Karen, we're still here, right? We can give ourselves permission today to put ourselves out there, even if it flops, even if people are like, oh my gosh, that Meredith and Joseph, they're so weird. I can't believe they're doing stand up comedy now. Whatever it is, we're going to be dead for a very long time. So let us give ourselves permission here, now, today, whatever the date is. I think it's May 7th, 2024. Um, so let's do that. You're going to be dead for a long time. So I decided to run with the program, and I'm just going to put it out there. And it's
Good.
going to launch in August.
What's the name of what is the program? Tell us about it.
I believe it's going to be called Money Love, and it's a prosperity 5-week program. And I'm going to be co-teaching it. I might be too premature to talk about it because we're having a meeting on Friday, but with Gina Gibson. Gina Gibson was one of our podcast guests way back when.
Oh, yes.
She lives in South Carolina, and we might be co-teaching Money Love together for 5 weeks online.
Oh, that's fabulous. That will be really fun.
So you and I have talked about this before
Mhm.
about prosperity classes and abundance classes, and the reason that I keep teaching it over and over again is because in all of my work with clients and people, just people that I love, the number one worry is money. That's the thing that keeps us up at night tossing and turning, is money. So I want to be part of the solution for that.
I love that.
So
What do you feel? So that's a common denominator. What do you think is one of the common denominators that gets in people's way to make them toss and turn about money?
oh, it's such a huge conversation, but the thing that comes top of mind is a teaching from T. Harv Eker, and he says, you don't have a money problem, you have a spending problem.
Mhm.
So I think that we are all, I know this is trite, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that we're all trying to keep up with the Joneses. So we're all going out there and getting the newest phone and the newest car and another tattoo and another pedicures and manicures, all that. So I think we're spending too much.
So can I push back on that a little bit?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Because there are some things I feel that are worth spending money on. If you have it and you're not going to debt over it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because self-love, if a pedicure and a manicure makes you feel good about yourself and helps, like, there's, to me, that feels like that's like self-love. That's like getting a spa treatment or a
Or massage.
massage or
Yep.
a haircut or something. It's when you go into debt over it and then you feel the guilt, the compounding guilt over it, that I feel is really challenging. What I heard that I felt was really wonderful, because I hear what you're saying. This is the reverse of it, which is because when you go and you spend your money on something where it makes you feel good and energetically, you can start to attract other things, right? So then there's something, your money is working for you in this other, like, kind of magical way. But so my question is, how can you get money to be like little soldiers for you to go out and make other money?
Hmm.
That's the
Yes.
exciting piece, right? So there's the energetic piece, and then there's that, how can you make them little soldiers and go out and get other money for you?
So backing up the bus a little bit, yes, thank you for calling me out on that. It's when we go into debt
Yeah.
over buying more things. That is what happens. I'm pointing to my gut right now, but it's not on camera. That's what happens to us at our very, essence of our core, our solar plexus. That's where we're like, oh no, I shouldn't be spending this money, but I am. And then, yes, there's a lot of ways to change the energy, which is why I'm calling the course Money Love, not Money Lack, right? Like, how can we
Mhm.
bring more love into this relationship and not be so needy about it? You
Have
know?
you noticed a higher consciousness around that, though, with community? I just have, because I feel like there's a lot of people now that are, like, talking about financial literacy and more self-love and mindset, and how money doesn't have to be your enemy, but it can actually be a friend. It can start working for you. Do you feel like there's a higher consciousness, like people talking about it more? Have you noticed that?
Absolutely, including some of our podcast guests in the past. Yes. And what I know to be true is that we're not just healing it for ourselves, but we're healing it for future generations.
Oh, 100%. I because I can't, for me, my parents were very hush hush about money. It was very taboo to talk about it. And so I feel like that feels like the fundamental shift now, which is people are less fearful of talking about it, where it still feels like it's somewhat personal. It's not as personal as it used to be. It's not like taboo to talk about your money. And I also am hearing that from like the Gen Z. They'll start talking about like salary transparency at work and
Mm,
all sorts of things that are helping us raise our vibration as a
thank
community.
yes. Thank God. Yes.
I think it's
Mhm.
cool. It's so
Yeah.
fun. I think money's fun. My
Money's so
daughter
fun.
my daughter she just saved $200 and put it I t sh brought her to, the bank for the very first time to deposit
Mm.
her money in the bank to find out that she had saved, drum roll, on
Ba-dum,
her
ba-dum,
own,
ba-dum, ba-dum,
ba-dum,
bum.
bum, bum, $900.
Whoa!
I know, it's because every week she gets allowance. We give her a dollar for each year she's been alive. So she's been alive for 12 years. So she gets $12 every week. Plus, she's a mother's helper. So she gets
Mhm.
$5 from one mama and she gets 14 from the other one, I think, because they've got two kids. I don't
Right,
know how that
right.
worked out.
Something. Yeah.
But anyway, so she takes it and she divides it into savings, giving, and spending.
Play. Mhm.
Yeah, and then she gave money, for breast cancer research because there was a jar at her school, so she gave her money, she gave, like, $75 or something, and then she likes to spend her money on lunch.
Okay. Do you know, listener, that Meredith's daughter was one of our guests on this
Yes.
podcast talking about her business,
Yes.
right? Mighty Business.
Yeah, she was doing Mighty Business.
Wow, for a while. Wow.
Mhm.
Congratulations, Harper. We celebrate you. Can you do something with confetti for Harper?
Let's see if it'll do it. See if it'll do the confetti.
Do
Yay!
I have to?
It did it! I mean, yeah, my little entrepreneur, I'm very proud of her.
Hmm. Beautiful. What about you? What do you have coming up that you want to tell us about?
I am co-teaching a in-person. I have not taught an in-person workshop for a very long time. An in-person workshop with Kevin Scott, the very funny Kevin Scott, at Ripley Greer Studio in New York City this weekend on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Mm.
And then I get to go to Phoenix next week, where I'm a part of this network group called Brepic, which was started by Justin Breen, Mark Fujiwara, and Justin's wife, Sarah Breen. And Justin wrote two books, Epic Life and Epic Business. And I reached out to him and he said, "Do you want to be a part of my network group?" And I said, "Sure." And now I'm going to a retreat and I get to teach again there as well. I'm going to it's only 30 minutes, but it's going to be up on your feet 30 minutes.
Mm.
And so I'm very excited about those two things. And then after that, like I've just got some clients. I might be going to Brazil. That's up in the air. We don't know, but just, things are good. How about
Mm.
you? You tell me about you.
I am teaching an in-person improv as well. I'm going on retreat in Savannah, leaving in a week. And I reached out to the improv community there and I said, "This is who I am. I'm going to be there. Do you want me to do something?" And they said yes. So I'm going to be
Amazing.
teaching all new people that I've never met before. And I'll be there researching my book. I'm writing a novel about slavery, historical fiction.
Oh,
So I'll be there
interesting.
doing that.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. So here's an idea, and I'm just putting it out there so that the gods of live theater can hear me. So the novel is all these different characters. And I thought, oh, people could buy the book, but wouldn't it be really interesting if we had like a live radio show where each character read their part
Mm,
and brought the words to life? So that might be happening in January 2025. Reading the book.
amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's an ambitious book.
It's ambitious, and I have to tell you, the research is earth-shattering.
Yeah.
What has happened to people of color and continues to happen to people of color is horrific. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah. And it's also horrific when we see that there's so many systems that are still in place
Hmm.
that were started
Yeah.
because of slavery and colonialism.
And
Ugh.
and we hope that our next podcast guest is going to be an African American man from Chicago who I've reached out to recently, and I'd love to hear his story about how he's changing the future for multiple teenagers. So
Amazing.
fingers and eyes crossed for Terrence to show up.
We have a few people that I feel are going to be our guests that are pretty dynamic humans doing a lot of great work in the world.
Hello, that's the whole history of our podcast.
And if you're listening right now and you haven't been on this podcast and you're like, wait a minute, stop the press, Meredith and Joseph. I've done a lot of great things in this world and I want to share how I've given myself permission or not. You're maybe standing on the edge wanting to, please reach out to us.
Absolutely. That's part of it. You do not have to have already given yourself permission, but if you are on the precipice, precipice,
Yes. Yes.
if you're on the edge, if you're on the edge and you're like, I just want to talk about this and just get my heart and soul out there in the world.
Do
You're
it.
welcome.
Can I tell you something that I gave myself permission not to do today?
Yes.
Okay. So I interchange words every once in a while. I'm probably not alone in the world, but like it'll be words precipitous. So one word is antidote and see
Anecdote. I have the same thing.
anecdote
Same
and
thing.
antidote. Right? So I did a TikTok where I talked about incorporating stories and antidotes into your I said so of course the transcript picks up I said antidote, picked up antidote. One person called me out on it. They sent me a private email to say, by the way, just wanted you to know you said antidote. My wife does it too. And I had huge waves of emotions like, oh my God, I'm going to sound stupid. There you go again, Meredith, mixing up words. Your credibility is shot. Like all the things, right? I almost pulled it down.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what, Meredith? Walk your frickin' talk. You always say perfection is highly overrated. You're not alone. It makes you look more human. Just leave it alone. So I took a big, deep breath. I got over myself and I left it. So that's my story about giving myself permission to leave something alone.
Oh yeah. And one of the things that you and I preach for years is the messiness, allowing ourselves to be messy in our business, right? I love that. Congratulations. And I have the same exact thing. Antidote and anecdote.
Anecdote. And first of all, the English language, I'm just going to blame it on whoever decided that was smart.
Right. And also I have problems with like being a book author and like the man's first name Arthur, I like those kind of things. Yeah. Whoever invented this language, they need to go back to school.
I think it was the Phoenicians.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
we should have them on the podcast.
The Phoenician. I think they invented the alphabet. I don't know if that means
they invented the language. Okay. Well, you know what? You're already sounding smarter than you did before. Look at that. You should do a TikTok about the Phoenicians.
I think the Phoenicians invented the alphabet and the catapult.
The same day?
Yeah, I think we should have a podcast called Weird Shit You Remember from High School.
Right. Oh, yeah, I've got a lot. Okay, I think we should wrap this up.
On that note?
Yeah. Weird shit you remember from high school. Are you waiting for permission?
Okay. No. Hey, Joseph Bennett, I want to just leave one word of wisdom, one thing that our audience can take with them until next month when they hear from us again.
Okay.
Let's both leave them something. Are you ready?
Yes, ladies
first. On the spot. Ladies
I'm ready to go, but ladies first.
No, you go. You go first.
I've said it already. I'm going to repeat it, and that is we are all going to be dead for a very long time. So go out and do that thing that scares you. Do the risk.
Okay. Great.
Do it.
Okay, my one thing is I want you to go do one thing today. Just one. One thing that you have never done before.
Mm.
Like, whether
Mm.
that's like try a new food or walk down your street naked with just sandals on, or these are things off the top of my head, or uh,
Walk backwards into the grocery store.
walk backwards. Yes. Or maybe you buy something, I don't know, for somebody else in the checkout line.
Call somebody that you want to have lunch with that you're kind of intimidated by.
Oh, yes, I did that and I'm having a meeting with somebody.
Okay.
So brilliant. You got to do
There
it.
you go.
Okay.
All right.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Until next time.
Until
Follow
next
us.
time.
Follow us. Leave us reviews. Okay, bye.